All right, folks, I do have another commission lined up, but that one will take time to set up, and we're going to be working on that one in Procreate Dreams, which I've never really done any freelance work in before, but we're going to start challenging ourselves and just do it. But this is one of my Opus Lilium pieces, a new sort of identity that I'm trying to adopt online. I'm trying to retire Chokenator. I'm off of Chokenator, Instagram, Twitter. If I do freelance stuff of like non-religious work, I'm gonna do it on the Chokenator account. But again, I'm trying to move away from that, and I really do want to focus my life more on religious work. So this is the Holy Family, which I had made some videos on before, and I'm glad that I had a couple commissions because I can take that experience and really apply it to these pieces that I really care a lot more about. Not that I don't care about the freelance work. Obviously, I care about that. But freelance work is other people's vision, and this religious work is, I guess, my vision. So yeah, I got some experience from that. I'm going to go grab that Opus color brush, and we're just going to start painting. Now for these, I'm going to take my time. I want these pieces to reach a level of quality and finish that I really like intend. Yeah. By intend, I mean like I want to put these on like my maximum level of skill. So that said, I'm just going to start painting. Now I learned that the eyedropper tool is just so good. I know that digital artists know this already, and I've seen them use it a lot, but once you have a color palette that works, all you need after that is the eyedropper. Once you have all your colors. So I'm just gonna take my time. I gained some experience with my brush. I do want to improve my brush, my coloring brush, but I think it seems to do the job. So I don't like spending too much time like setting things up. I like really simple brushes. And I learned that I can use the smudge tool some more. So for this, I just kind of dove in and started like painting. Now another thing too is I forgot what I was gonna say. Okay, so we'll grab now an eye color here. Oh yeah, the other thing too, I want to stay zoomed out. I want to stay zoomed out as if I'm painting on a real canvas, like a small, well, I got the 13-inch iPad now, a small 13-inch diagonal though. That's how they describe screens. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. If we're gonna make this, let's treat this like it's a larger painting actually. So I'm just gonna get in there and be more refined with this. Take this color. Let's add some highlights here. So where is the light source here? That's what I want to keep in mind. I was just generally putting in shadows. I mean, daylight in the streets of Nazareth or Egypt, wherever it is they raised Jesus. I'm not sure. You know, they don't make it clear how much time they spent in Egypt. But I think if you look at the historical if you look at it from a historical perspective, I mean, they make it clear that it was Herod that like when Herod died, that's when they returned from Egypt back to Nazareth. So I don't know how old Jesus was at that time. So this is the streets of either Jesus or Egypt or Nazareth is this place, but it's just gonna be some like not town square, but some just like neighborhood with some buildings. So greens and browns in the background. So I remember choosing to desaturate this piece a little bit. And so I really want to think about saturation, desaturated colors. It was one of the things I was really wanting to explore. Okay. I was in the wrong layer right there. Okay. So yeah, you know what? This desaturated green, I'm gonna desaturate even more into the shadow. Now, one thing that's nice is that as I'm painting, I don't really undo very much. So I don't have the same problem with painting as I do in with lines. Maybe one day, though, I hope not, is like when I start becoming a bit more skilled with painting, that I start undoing more. But if it's not my habit now, then I don't think it will become my habit in the future. So the undo that I do when doing lines, that has to be like a, go back and rework my process. Okay. Again, just sort of laying in shadows. Okay. Probably get a good cast shadow right down here under the apron. So I am doing two versions of this painting. This is the more homey version, like what might they've looked like in real life, but still using the colors commonly used in iconography. But then I'm doing another piece which is pure iconography, which is like, majestic figures in, perfect, 3D symmetrical background. I think it's really important for me that I do two versions of this, because this is the one I set out to do. But I got asked by church to do a larger painting of it, and if I'm going to put it in a church, well, maybe I want to make it look glorious, the iconography. So this one is like Saint Jesus, Mary, and Joseph on earth, and then the next one I'm going to do is going to be more like a Jesus, Mary, and Joseph in a more heavenly state. Okay, so I'm going to take a darker color, just use a larger brush now, and just kind of lay in some general shadows here. Yeah. Again, my painting process is very haphazard. It ends up being like what I want it to be, but it's very, very haphazard. Okay, so let's get in here. What is his skin color? Let's get the white into his eyes. So for pieces like this, where I'm not getting paid, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to treat this one as a process of evolving process too, without a time limit. Because with these pieces, I want them to feel perfect in my eyes. I'm going to shoot for highest level work here. The next commission I'm going to do is pretty exciting. I'm going back to that project that my friend got started on a long time ago, which is like a fighting game using Hunter x Hunter characters. So we're going to work on those pieces. A Hunter x Hunter fan game, that would get a lot of players, I'm sure. That would look pretty good in my reel too, like especially the way we're doing it. Now, I do like the shadow color I used. Like typically I will use stronger reds in the shadow to make characters come to life. But I think with Saint Joseph, like I feel like he's a carpenter. He would be not necessarily tired, but maybe a little bit dirty, a little bit sweaty in any given situation. I'm sure they took baths in those days, but it could be hot in that region of the world. And he's a worker, Saint Joseph, a worker. I mean, what do you do when you work but sweat? In fact, when I decided on Opus Lilium, one of the first pieces I was working on was called Saint Joseph Working, or Saint Joseph Resting from after a hard day's work. It's one of my favorite pieces that I've done. That Saint Joseph looked a little bit different from this one, but pretty similar also. So such simple colors here, and What's really going to change these colors is, I think, once we integrate the background. But here, I think I should start establishing some light and shadow. So let's go ahead and take our a darker color and start putting shadows into parts where there may be less light in his hair. Underneath the beard here. Just subtle, because this is like darks within a dark, the already shaded area. So, but now let's take, where is he gonna have light? Sometimes it's called like a halo. It goes around the head. Why? Oh, you know what? I just realized. I was like, why do reflections like this go around the head? Well, the sun is bouncing off, coming from straight down, or coming from straight up, and then bounces off the head at an angle that it would like reflect the beam of light toward the viewer. So now I just figured out why. Very interesting. We are thinking of a top-down light source here. So here for Mary, we do want I do want some darker hair here in the shadow, especially. Now I do think it's very nice when like my wife's hair shines brown in the like it's normally looks black, but in the sunlight and in stronger lights it shines brown. I think it's very beautiful. So I want to incorporate that into Mary here. So I might even take a little bit more of the reddish brown and pull that into the piece, but acknowledging these characters have black hair more than likely in that region of the world. Now the color saturation I think it can be improved. I think this was like right after I did a desaturate, but I think what I can do is I can, you know what, I'll just paint it in. Okay, so this will be my shadow color, I think. Where will we have shadows? Definitely down here, right in here, here under the folds, definitely right in here, and here under these folds. You know what, I think we need stronger contrast though for shadows, especially if it's outdoors. I might have to go back and do the same thing with St. Joseph to get stronger shadows in there. So for these sessions, since I am, working for perfection here, I'm going to keep the session times limited. Because really I can go on and on with these. But yeah, I want to get that process real good. Now, my wife and I kind of have rediscovered Bob Ross. His channel is everywhere. He's on Twitch, he's on YouTube, but he's also on this service called Tubi, which is like this free streaming service where they have a lot of old stuff, a lot of like old TV shows and movies that people don't care about. Like, it's interesting, like the stuff that people don't care about, it's like old TV stuff. It's like that's what they put on Tubi, and they just get like a little bit of ad revenue because these channels, which have barely any commercials, like the Bob Ross channel has its own little commercial breaks, but it doesn't seem to run any actual ads except for every once in a while. So it's kind of interesting how they set that up. Anyway, Bob Ross is the GOAT of... He is definitely the GOAT. I don't think anyone comes close as far as art content creation. He probably still makes the most money. I mean, he passed away a long time ago, and the Bob Ross Foundation, his family, I know there's a sad documentary about how that foundation works, but his family, Bob Ross Foundation are collecting the royalties now, and he left a legacy for his family that was beautiful because he was literally the best at this. I'm pretty sure that whatever donations the Bob Ross Foundation is getting and merchandise they're selling is still more than any other in the past like 40 years or however long it was since he started his show, 35 years. more than any other art content creator. Like he started it, and no one can match it. And I look back at his show, it's perfect. Like, he's really good at what he does. He has an awesome personality. He's fast. He's time efficient within his little 20-minute, 25-minute show segment. So with that kind of structure, that kind of consistency, and that kind of skill, and that kind of also personality are things that I want to strive toward. If there's anyone to follow the example of, it is Bob Ross. I know there's others. I know there's like Sam Does Arts, Ross Draws, Jazza, these guys, these popular guys on YouTube. I'm sure there are more, like actual painters too, like older guys, because I'm talking about like young digital artists who are around my age. But I'm sure there's older guys. I'm sure there's women as well, and younger kids too, maybe who are using different mediums. Me, I'm a digital artist, and I want to evolve in the space too, not just the art itself, but the content aspect of it. And the guy to follow for me, because I don't really watch other content, it's Bob Ross. I might as well follow the GOAT. If I want to follow the work ethic of Kobe Bryant, who I don't even think is the GOAT, but I don't know much about Michael Jordan's work ethic, but I'm sure it's roughly the same. I've seen LeBron's training program. I've seen Klay Thompson train. Like, these guys, they just work really hard toward perfection. So I want to do that too. So that said, I went on a little rant just now, and I wasn't actually getting much work done. So that's something I need to improve on. Where if I'm gonna be talking like that, I should also keep working. So we're gonna take this sort of desaturated red color, and it's similar to the color that they chose for Mary in The Chosen, another show that I like. I really enjoy their short depiction of Saint Joseph. Fittingly short, because he didn't really show up a lot in the Gospels. So if you're gonna put Saint Joseph in a show about Jesus, he's just gonna have his own little piece in there. Okay. Now let's get to the baby Jesus here. Chose the skin color, but we want him to be. I'm gonna do a little bit of iconographic input here, where I take his. I'm gonna let him be like a bit of a light source. He's gonna be very well lit. From the top, but also from within. Do I want to add halos to this piece? Not really. The other piece I'll put in halos, but this one, no. I just want it to, be down to earth. This piece, I want it to be down to earth. Let's get his whites of his eyes in there. Bit of a high contrast here. I think I haven't added lighting yet. I've added shadows, but not lighting. And for this one, I deliberately made the base colors dark so I can add lighting to it. So I think with Jesus, we'll just go in and start adding the light. Let there be light, as the Father says. So skin color. This one's a bit tough. Nazarenes, they are considered, I guess, a Caucasian race. I use the word race hopefully correctly, because I'm taking a class right now. Part of one of my requirements to transfer. It's like a race studies kind of class kind of thing. It's like Latinx studies, Latino, Latina, Latinx. The X is really weird, but I'm not in that space where people use terminology like that. But I have learned a lot in that class. It's been a pretty nice class for me. And one of the things I learned is that the word race is specifically used for appearance. I was like, why is race such a big deal? Like, people from different countries. I thought maybe a country is a race, but no, country is more like ethnicity. Place of origin. Ethnicity is the right word for that. But race, it really just describes how people look. So if I say black, like someone Haitian, someone Jamaican, they're black, but they're not African American. So you can't use the word African American to describe all black people, because they're not all from Africa. Like, some of them are Haitian, some of them are Jamaican, and like even like naturally Jamaican. Maybe they have pretty dark skin down there, or those Jamaicans could be from Africa too. I'm not really sure. But the word Asian as a race, I mean, it does describe like Koreans, Japanese, Chinese, even if their cultures are completely different. Southeast Asian, Laotian, Cambodian, Vietnamese, Filipino, Indonesian, Malaysian, like it falls under race because of the way they look. And I thought that was really interesting, and then I realized, okay, that's why race is an important issue, because you know, people looking a certain way causes problems in the world. People stereotype, people judge, people, they have biases. Anyway, I don't want to get into that too much on this video. But I am thinking about the race of people from Nazareth, Bethlehem. I did look up some resources. You know, they have brown skin, but they're not. They are a bit lighter skinned, and I guess it's considered a Caucasian race. Okay, I think that's good. There's a little shadow around his eye that makes it look weird, but we'll get in there and fix everything. So there's baby Jesus. My son knows how to walk now too, so when I drew this, I thought, okay, Jesus could be a little bit older than my son, but you know, learning how to walk here. Because when I reach down at my son, I have to reach down further than this to hold his hand. So this Jesus, quote unquote, learning to walk is like actually kind of tall for a kid who's learning to walk. But maybe he can walk already, but his parents are just deciding to hold his hands. So that's what it is. So we'll take this now. I'm going to start lighting him as well. Yeah, I like that color. Yeah, I think we'll just add a whole light to this. Keeping in mind that we are in a daylight scene. So we might increase the lighting still more on these characters. Yeah. Yeah, it looks funky right now. His face looks funky. I need to establish, like, what I used to do is I would take a multiply layer and just do all the lights and just do all the shadows, and then like put it over the base color layer. But I want to avoid doing that. In fact, I want to say I don't ever want to do that again, because it works, but I need to improve at color picking. So that means I need to be able to choose the right colors, and which includes not only hues but lights and darks. So let's start it with Jesus. This is I'm going to end the video after this because it's getting long, but here's what we'll do. We'll take Jesus. His shirt is supposed to be white. So the reason I made it this gray is because I went in with the intention of creating white. So I'm going to get this light yellowish white, desaturated, and I'll use this to add in light, and I'm going to use a pretty close to a white color. Yeah, this is pretty close to white. Now the contrast here is more what I was intending. This contrast of the white and gray, and you do get high contrast out in the daylight when the sun is completely up, like in midday. So that's the goal here. So I think with this in mind, I might have to go back and sort of adjust the amount of lighting on Mary and Joseph too. Let's smudge. Let's use that a little bit. Okay. The smudge makes it look a little bit too painterly though. This is still anime. This is still in my comic style, so we'll keep that in mind. I don't want too much detail in the color, because you see this little shadow right there, that's distracting to me. It detracts from the line art. So if I keep it a little bit more like hard edges, it helps the viewer focus more on the lines. I don't want this to look too painterly. That's not the goal. The next piece that I'm going to do of the Holy Family, I do want to look painterly, because it's going to be literally a painting. So I'm not sure how long it will be until I finish that painting, but I would really like to do that. There we go. Okay. That will do for now. I don't think it changed a whole lot, but the light on Jesus did, so that's good. And we'll use we'll keep that level of contrast in mind as I paint the rest of it. So I'll talk to you guys later. I'll work on this more later. I gotta do some yard work now. So bye bye and God bless.